Hello everyone! So today I have a very simple DIY that I've created with a few items that I've purchased in previous hauls. You probably have seen that I've been posting. If you've been following the channel, you'll see that I've posted quite a few hauls in the last few weeks. And of course, I've been crafting with things, but it takes a little while for glue to dry and for the time to sit down and actually create. But this one here took me a couple days, and what actually inspired this DIY was a picture. Was a picture that I have had. My grandmother gave it to me. I know it's not going to mean much to you guys, but it's a picture of my grandmother and my grandfather from 1960, which is pretty cool. And I've always tried to, I didn't want to just display it in a picture frame or something kind of like just one-off-ish. I wanted to incorporate it into kind of more like with family things. And so I put together this using Dollar Tree items. You probably can see it in behind me. I just wanted to kind of show you what it turned out to look like as a piece. I do plan on hanging it the way I showed you with the little, I'll show you in the video how to do it, but with just the regular little picture frames to hang it up on the wall. But I think it turned out super cute, and so I'm gonna put this one here as my final picture in one of the slots. And then I used a sepia type of color for the pictures, and these ones here are original that my grandmother gave me from when she printed. It's even like, you probably can't see, but it almost looks like a vintage type of paper, like as if you had stained it with coffee, which I think is pretty, or tea bags, but I think it's pretty cool. I hope you guys enjoy this DIY, and I look forward to sharing more with you guys very soon. Until the next video, bye for now.
Hello. So I'm just going to keep it with kind of like I'm going to just talk through this DIY. I chose these 8x10 frames from the Dollar Tree, and they have like a wood grain, and I'm only going to be using the frame and the glass panel. So I have 5 frames, and I'm just going to open this up, and then I'm going to paint each of the, I guess the frame, like the frames, the outer part, of course. So at this point, I'm just going to take apart the frame, remove the inner parts, and keep them all to the side. I'm not going to discard of any of these things, but I also don't want to paint or get any acrylic paint on the glass panel. So just take everything apart. And I'm going to use acrylic paints from the Dollar Tree. Of course, you can buy them at Walmart as well, but I'm going to mix a white with a warm white and just kind of get that nice antique cream color, not too beige and not too white, just so it's a little bit off. And I'm going to use my sponge to do this, like a sponge brush. And once I have a good quantity of mix, because now you want to keep all the frames in the same tone, make sure you put a lot in this little container and then stir it really well. If you have leftovers or you need to stop working on this project while you're painting, just wrap the little paint container in some cellophane or in a Ziploc bag and place it in the refrigerator, and you should be okay, or even leaving it out on the counter. However, I always find that if I just put it in the refrigerator, it works really well, and then I can continue on with my project when I have some time. But I'm going to give it one coat here. I'm going to allow it to dry, so you'll see that, and then I'm going to give it another coat. And I'm going to paint all the sides here, just because if I'm going to hang this on the wall or keep it somewhere that's visible to both sides, I want the entire frame to be one color. I don't want that black plastic look on the back. The grain at the front is so pretty, and I mean that's just the way a frame is done, right? But yeah, you're just going to give it a nice good even coat, brush it. Now I'm finding as I'm brushing here that there's like a little bit of that brown grain coming through, and I actually quite like it. So I'm going to do some experimenting, and then we'll go through this together. So I'm going to set this aside, the frame, and let it dry. And in the meantime, I'm going to work with this, I guess, is it a trellis? It's a little garden fence from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to bend it a few times back and forth in the place that I want to cut. And then you can use a pair of wire cutters here, but I'm using these kind of cheapy scissors, and you know what, it still did the job. So just work patiently on an angle and it will cut really easily. And I just want the same, I want all, just the border of it. I don't want any of the little picks because it's not going into the ground. And I'm just gonna kind of bend it back and forth till it kind of allows me to almost snap things if I have to, or I'm just gonna use a pair of scissors. So now that I snap these little pieces off, it's a little bit bumpy. I'm gonna just use my nail file here. And you can use a piece of sandpaper, of course. I'm just using my nail file, and then I'm just kind of smoothing off any of the edges that are a little bit rough and don't look natural to the actual this little frame, I guess, little fence. So this was the little piece I needed, about 2 in size, so that it fits kind of evenly above the frame that I'm making. Here I'm smoothing off any little rough edges again. This way when I paint, it's nice and smooth and it has like an uneven look. I'm going to use the exact same paint I use for my picture frames. And again, so this one coat is not really covering that gray undertone, and it's pulling on it, which is quite nice. And I think I have now an idea to work with it, but I want this to be nice and covered, so I'm going to go with 2 coats. I'm going to allow this to dry, and now it's dry. So I touch it here, and I'm going to give it another coat of paint. As I was moving it around, I realized you have to get right into the grooves and on the sides, otherwise you're going to see like that gray finish. So make sure you take your paintbrush and cover, like kind of like how I'm doing here on an angle, just kind of go inside, and that will get rid of all the kind of that grayish black color. So I'm going to do the same for some of the frames. I've decided I'm going to give it a second coat. I'm just going to see how this looks, but see how it's kind of like got that cool grain effect. So I'm going to paint through all of the frames. I'm not going to show you this because it's kind of boring. You kind of get the point after a few of them, but here they are all complete, and you see some of them I have a little bit more, I left a little bit more grain, others I did a little bit extra coats. It just totally depends on what style you're going for, but see here it's kind of got like, I left a little bit of the grain exposed, and then some of them I just did a little bit more paintings. Like this one here is a little bit more finished, no grain exposed. So what I'm going to do is actually take a look at all of them and kind of get them to have this variance in tones by using some sandpaper. So we're going to grab some sandpaper here and then just kind of, go gently, don't go too crazy and hard on here, of course, because you don't want to damage your stuff. But if you want like a little bit more of an outline on or accents on certain parts of the frame, just rub the sandpaper back and forth and you will start to expose that darkness in behind and even in the inner part of the frame. So if you see how I use my hands here, I just kind of press into the inner part of the frame and it gives you a little accents here and there. So you want to do that equally. You don't want to make it look identical on each frame. So you pick and choose, like maybe you'll do the top left corner and then you'll go to the bottom right corner and just kind of shake things up, but don't make it all like perfect looking because you want it to have this kind of vintage farmhouse antique kind of look. Little bit nervous working with this one, so let's see how this works. Oh, I love it. Look at that. It kind of makes it look like metal. Oh, I'm really liking this. So I'm just going to accent like little bits and pieces here and there to make it look real, like a little piece of wrought iron. This is really neat. I'm actually really happy with the exposure that it gives you. It totally looks like metal. Super, super cool. So I'm gonna have some fun here, and I'll just let you guys see what I'm doing. So see, on some parts of the little spade, I'm gonna do the little metal, kind of antique metal finish, and oh, this is so fun. I'm loving it. Have fun with this part. This is my favorite. Okay, now this part here, I have to pull out all these little metal pieces that would hold the frame together. I'm not going to use them because I just don't want them to be exposed when I'm putting this entire piece together. So I'm just going to pull them out with pliers. They come out really, really easy. Just kind of fiddle them back and forth and they'll pop right out. And it helps it if you have like a good pair of little pliers. And these are from the Dollar Tree, so. Okay, so I've pulled off all the little metal clips off of each of the frames, and now we're ready to start assembling these together. So what I want to do is put the glass panel back on each individual frame. I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that. This is a Teflon sheet, just in case you're wondering. I'll link the product down below from Amazon. I just use it when I'm using my hot glue, my E6000s, anything like that. So first off, it doesn't ruin my table, and second, I can just place my hot glue gun and I don't have to worry about burning things. They're actually like I guess a sheet or a cooking sheet to put in the oven. But I put some E6000 on the entire trim of the inner part of that where it kind of has that dip, and then I'm going to put some hot glue on each of the corners so that the glass panel automatically adheres to it, but then the E6000 will kind of solidify the whole thing and keep it all together. So I have all of them done, and now we're gonna, I guess, attach them together because you need to secure them. Of course, if you're gonna put them on the wall or sit them on the floor, you need some sort of support because the frames won't hold together. So I've decided to use really thick popsicle sticks here, and the reason is because the two frames, when they kind of come where the joints are, the popsicle stick overlaps, so it's going to give it a nice support. I think this will work like this. So the popsicle sticks will be a support system, but before I do that, I want to apply some E6000 glue and attach both frames side edges to one another, or top edges, however you're going to make your design. You can make this into a rectangle, a square. I'm just making it one long piece, so I'm going to attach each frame from top to bottom, etc. I'm going to use popsicle stick here just to smooth out the E6000, and now I'm going to apply one thin line of hot glue because both glues kind of work together. The hot glue adheres things more instantly, and then the E6000 kind of works within the 24-hour period to cure and adhere the items together. I'm going to put some E6000 across both kind of end pieces of the frame here, and then I'm going to run some E6000 about the length of the popsicle stick along both edges of the frame. And then I'm going to do the same for the side here. I'm going to put some E6000 again here and here. Now a little trick is don't apply the hot glue directly to the plastic frame. It actually hardens much quicker than if you apply the hot glue to the wooden stick, or popsicle stick I should say, and then attach it to the frame. This way you have a little more time to work with the glue, as the hot glue doesn't dry as quickly. So I did the same thing for each section. I did the E6000, the hot glue, and now you see all 5 of my frames are all kind of supported to one another and ready to be hung on a wall or secure, like kind of sit on a floor. So now for this part, you want to attach this little trellis to your frame, and in order to level it so that it wasn't bending as it was gluing, I just used a little container or something to prop it up. So I'm going to apply a generous amount of E6000 glue along the frame's edge here at the top. And now I'm going to apply E6000 actually to the frame itself, so then when I go to sit it kind of just all blends in with these 6000. I just find this is easiest, and it's easier to maneuver things around when you're playing with these with hot glue as I'm holding the hot glue gun. For this next part, I just want to attach the pictures to have them kind of hanging on a little piece of twine, and with a little clip, like a little clothespin, the mini ones. You don't have to keep the glass panel in behind. If you want to remove the glass panel, you can. I like the look. It kind of gives it a bit of a warmer finished look. Because it's not open, of course, right? So I'm going to use these little mini clothespins. I'm going to attach it to a piece of twine. For the first one, I'm trying to gauge how long of a piece of string I actually need. Now remember that the longer the string, the lower the picture will hang. The tighter the shorter the string, the tighter the hang, and therefore your picture will be a little bit higher up. So just account for how large your pictures are. If you have a 5x7 or an 8x10, etc., just make sure you're giving yourself more or less space for the hanging, right? I think I'm happy with the amount of string I have here. So I'm going to cut the twine. So I'm going to attach both pieces of twine to the very tip, like little corners here with some hot glue. Now, if I hadn't glued my glass panels in place, you could have put the twine in behind, and that could be ideal as well if you want it to look more finished or hidden. I don't mind that there's going to be a little piece of twine here in the corner. I think it gives it a little character. But again, like if you want, cut your twine beforehand, before gluing the little panels, put it in behind, and then it's actually a little bit more secure as well. But this glue is going to do the trick, because the twine and the glue and the paint, it's going to stick really well. So I'm going to put a little piece of twine in this corner here, and then I'm going to trim any of the extra string kind of sticking out. And just make sure you gently press it in so that it's nice and secure. If you like the twine look, you can definitely wrap a little bit more twine around the edges here, and that will give it maybe more of a finished look or a farmhouse look. I liked it without, but feel free if you want just to finish off those corners there with some twine. So with the back of the frames that you had originally removed at the very beginning, you want to take these little pieces of metal. I can't take this off with one hand, but you want to, they just kind of pop right out with holding back the other piece. And then this is what you're left with, these two little guys. So you're going to want to attach these two little frame hangers, I guess, to the actual frame. So you want to align them and make sure that you're putting them in the same spot so that you're, you know, not having to fight with screws and stuff on the wall or nails on the wall. This way everything is nice and aligned. So what you want to do is take a nice amount of E6000 glue at this point, and you want to generously apply it to the frame. So dab on a nice little glob, and then take your hot glue and mix it in with the E6000 glue. This will just kind of give you a quick attachment so that you don't have to worry about the little metal moving around. And now you just want to make sure that you line them both up in pretty close to the same spot. I'm just going to take a pair of tweezers here and kind of help move it around in the glue. I'm just having a little bit of trouble, so if you want to take a pair of tweezers, it's just easier to move things around sometimes when you have a better fix or handle on them. And then you can just use your nails or your fingers to move the little metal piece around as you need. But that should do the trick. And then let this settle for, well, cure for 24 hours, and then you can then hang it on the wall. And I hope you enjoyed this DIY. I look forward to sharing more with you guys very soon. But see, here it is nice and dry, and then you can use it to hang on the wall. Thank you so much for watching. Until the next time, I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye for now.